let's take a look at our line of sight tool. But before we do that, we have to go through all the steps to actually construct the line of sight results. So for line of sight, in this example, we're going to stay in the Coachella Regional Valley, and we are going to be looking from Toro Peak. Let's just say we're standing on top of Toro Peak. How much of the I-10 can we actually see? Can we see all of it? Is it disrupting our view of the mountains? But where along here can we see? Maybe you hiked up and you want to get an idea of traffic for when to start down. Maybe this is, a home you're purchasing and you want to see the coastline, pretending this line's the coastline. This could be individual points too, like can I see another tower, any of our repeater towers from here? We could do that as well, like how unobstructed is that view? To do this, we have to start with our road. This is a line file, and although I have vertices on the line, an easy way to use the line for points on your line of sight is to start by just generating points along the line. So this tool, as it says, it creates points along lines or polygons at a fixed interval or by percentage. So using our I-10 road, we can create those points upon the line. You can say by distance. And I did about 2,000 meters just to get some good spacing. I figured this out basically by using the measure tool and just seeing like how long this was and thinking like how many vertices I might want along that. And just took some guessing from there. There may be something, you may have specific requirements. Let's say, you're doing something at the state where they want to see if you can see a new garbage dump or something from a highway. They may have specific spacing of we want something every quarter mile. But we're going to stick with our 2,000 meters. We're going to include the endpoints, and then go ahead and click run on that. And our results, spoiler. Our results will bring up these points here, which if we open our attribute table, don't look at the one column yet, we're not here yet, we'll have the shape length of the entire line, and then the name of the road. Now we'll get to that Z value. This is just, actually let's just run this real fast. Alright, so these are the new points I generated. I guess I did 2,500 here because there are a few less. But you can see what that looks like. The default all you're getting is the point itself and some basic attribute information. We are not getting the elevation of that, which is important and which helps us determine line of sight. If we can actually see it, we need to know where it is on the Earth's surface. So from there, we head over to the Add Surface Information tool. We'll use those points we just created. Our input surface is our 30 meter DEM, which we have here, and I've just turned off for simple viewing. 30 meter DEM. We want that output property to be Z, and we can leave the other defaults and go ahead and click Run there. And this is how we get that Z field to pop up on our attribute table. So now we're seeing elevations in meters for each location along this highway, along this section of I-10. So not very high above sea level, or at all above sea level. Here, there's this one. Yep. Okay. Now that we have our points, we can generate the lines that are going to be that straight line of sight from our observer point at the top of Toro Peak, which we're just standing on it, to our line of sight, or our lines along our points along the highway. That is our Construct Sightlines tool. So our observer point will be Toro Peak. I'm keeping this simple and not adding any offsets. But you could add an offset field to your observer point if you wanted. Like you could add that 5 meters for the average height of human eyes or whatever you wanted. So I'm selecting from this attribute table, there's an elevation field, so I'm picking that. And then the target height field, that's from our highway points we generated. Oops, gotta pick our target field. And we'll go target height is our Z field, which should set automatically. And then we can go ahead and click OK and run. Oops, something's missing. Oh, output name. So this is our that's our 2,000 meter sight line. Might be too long. Nope. Oh, you know what happened? This is a good learning lesson. I had this point selected, that below sea level point, so it only drew the one sight line. So I'm going to go ahead and clear my selection and then run this again. And it'll overwrite that file and should give us sight lines for all of the points. There we go. So now we can see we have these sight lines for all the points. So that's a straight line as the crow flies from our observer point to our target features. Now we can finally get to that line of sight tool. So line of sight tool is determining visibility of sight lines over obstructions consisting of a surface and an optional multi-patch data set. So multi-patch data set would be something like, you can see in this example we have the buildings. So if we had data on structures, you know, their height, we could add that in as an obstruction point. So we don't have that right now. We're just sticking with pure elevation. Our input surface is, as always, our 30 meter DEM. Our input line features are going to be our sight lines, our 2,000 meter ones. Input features is the optional one, that multi-patch feature. If we had those obstructing elements, that's where we would add them in. This is going to be, we'll rename this Toro Peak LOS 2000. And we'll go ahead there and click on Run. So we have our output. So let's take a look at each line individually. You'll see along the line, there are a lot of them here. Along the lines, there are areas of green, areas of red, that's sort of interspersed between what we're seeing. So anywhere that's red would be an area, if you're standing on Toro Peak along this line, that we would not be able to see. So you can see that due to the elevation, there's going to be some of the high points we'll see, but a lot of these little valleys we won't see. And then this peak here is going to be obstructing a lot of our view until we get to this area and so forth. So there'll be some parts we'll be able to see, but then some of the hills in front of our view are going to obstruct until we get about, let's see, where is that? To this part of wherever we are, Coachella, and you'll start to be able to see things again. So here we see, can have that straight view to the road there. These are all going to be different based on what's in our way. It gives you a good idea of, if we're standing here, where we could see the traffic pattern. So pretty much once we got east of, once we started getting into North Palm Springs, we'll start to be able to see most of the highway from there. You can open up, we'll just real quick look at the attribute table. These colors, visibility or not visibility, are coming from the target tar is viz field in your attribute table. So 0 meaning not visible. If you see any 1s, that is visible. So that's telling us when things are and are not visible. And how it's getting to that, nope, it's using the visibility code. Visible or not visible, it's telling us where things are and are not visible along that line.